actually. I just remember him being not very happy about it. And they took me to counseling. And it was Christian counseling. And it was a husband and wife team. And they just told them, hey, she's saying she's in love with this girl. You gotta, if it's a phase, it's a phase. If not, you gotta just accept it because this is what she's feeling. And so, but my dad felt so much guilt for that. And then after that, he started making amends with me. And I didn't even really think of it because I love my dad. And I really never thought of it to be something like that. But in Hispanic families, it is really hard because there's like, you're set with, like, these things that we were taught, like, same sex is not good, and, you know, you have to get married and have kids. And, like, I grew up that way to where I was like, shit, I need to get married and have kids. This is what we're supposed to do. So at a very young age, I was like, I need to get married. I need to have kids. And I knew it was going to be with a female, another female. So, like, when I was, like, 18 and dating my high school sweetheart, we were, like, talking marriage. We were talking about going to the same college, university. We were talking about all these same things that we were going to do together. And that didn't work out. And I just tended to become a musician, sleeping on couches, drinking coffee, staying out all night, drinking, going to bars, playing gigs. So that's what I did for a lot of the time after high school. I do apologize for the ice cream man. I am in the hood, so he comes by every day at this time. I didn't even think about it. And if you listen to the podcasts of when I'm recording after work, ice cream man goes by, and I just realized that. But anyhow, so a lot with the generational things where we were, you know, I felt so much guilt because when you get married and it's supposed to be forever. And I waited my whole life to get married. So after the departure, the end of my relationship with the person that I married, I was like trying to figure out what I was feeling. There a lot of talking and counseling and talking to people. And it was because I was feeling the Catholic guilt. Because I waited my whole life to do this thing. Because I was waiting for the right one. And so I believed in you only get married once. And so I felt guilt. And it was horrible. But talking to my mom, and my mom is very open-minded, and especially because my sister has been divorced a couple times, and one of my older sisters, and some other people in my family have been divorced, and she's like, I would rather you guys be happy. And this has not, like, I was talking to somebody the other day about this. A lot of the things with faith and the things that we were taught have a lot to do with the old ways, and they're not even updated. Because I was speaking with somebody about sex, and she was like, my body wants to have sex, but, I've only had sex with people that I've been in relationships with. And I had to talk to her about it, and I'm like, well, with both of our backgrounds, we were taught that we have to be in a relationship to have relations with somebody. So that has caused a lot of issues because then we jump into relationships with people so that we can have sex with them. So we need to separate our faith, our spirituality, and all of that from our sexuality. And that's something that I had to work on in the past 5 years. Because that's crazy. Like, these ideals that were back in the day are not going to be withheld now. So now I haven't talked to her, so hopefully she did what she had to do, because she was like, I really want to do this. And I hope that she did, and I'll message her later and find out. But a lot of the old traditions are what keep the families together, but also tear them apart. And with the movies like Coco and Encanto, both Hispanic families, one from Mexico, one's from Colombia, they're showing how traumatic some of these elders can do to us, that they are to us, and the new things. Like, yes, we upheld in Coco, we weren't going to play music in the house because, you know, Nana, the great Nana Coco, her dad freaking left the family, and so it was the music that caused it. Like, this is the way people think, this is the way my family thought. My mom was like, I really hope that coffee shop burns down, because I was going to a coffee shop and pretty much lived at that coffee shop for like 5 years. And being but this was cool. It was like the fucking end of the 90s and early 2000s, and I was a musician, so I was hanging out in coffee shops and bars and playing and doing those things, like living my life. And she was like, you need to get a job, you need to do this. She was just not caring and wanting us to be a certain way. But of course, I am never that way. I do not follow rules. I am like, no, I'm going to live my life. Just like I never came out of the closet. So, like, with these things that, these families are dealing with, we have to break them. We have to break the generational rules, because a lot of them are old and not fitting with today. Like sex. Like, if somebody did something and we don't listen to that music anymore, we won't read those kind of books, we don't watch those kind of movies, we don't do these things because this person did it and they hurt us. And that's just holding on to a lot of fucking bullshit that a lot of us need to let go. And a lot of the times families don't believe in therapy. Like, we're Gen X here. Me and my brothers and sisters are Gen X here. And so my parents didn't really think about therapy, and like, they took me to therapy. That's funny, right? And they didn't really think about like these other diseases and things that were going on, because I've told them numerous times that I had PMDD, and it was a fight for them to understand. And eventually I just gave up trying to explain to them what PMDD was or anything else that I was diagnosed with. And so, but now, because over time things change, and they learn about things, because it's been almost 10 years since I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia and PMDD. My PMDD is pretty much almost gone, because I'm going into the wonderful stage of pre-menopause. Fun times, I'm telling you. And so that's working on that. And fibromyalgia, it's here, but I don't think I feel very much of it. I think I'm just, like, I feel it, and like my achiness and stuff like that, but I'm not focused on it as much, because I'm not living in cold, and the cold really makes it really bad. And so that works. And so they don't believe in these things, but they are real, and science needs to prove them, which is good that they believe in science, right? My family believes in science, and they also believe in their Catholicism. And I can go off about Catholicism right now. Oh, but it will be involved in this. I will talk about it. But, so, the generational trauma that's going on in Encanto, especially the way that they treated fucking Bruno, dude. Horrible. Horrible. They treated Bruno horribly. And he left because he was fucking not treated right. But did he get an apology at the end? No, because you know why? A hug. That love. He was fucking welcomed back into the family. But it's not his fault. That was his freaking gift. Was fucking singing to things. And they made him to seem like a villain. They did a little villain-esque thing. And that kind of like was like fucked up. And I was like, dude, the way that they're talking about him in this song makes him sound like he was evil and mean. But he wasn't. And he felt guilt for all those things, and he left, but still lived in the house. So if you have, this is just going to have to be, I should put spoiler alert on here. On the notes, I'll definitely do that. So he's living in the house and missing his family and living far away. And he also picked up little quirks there, where it was like, knock on wood, knock, knock, knock. And Dylan does that. It's funny. So yeah, he picked up these little kinks doing these things. And, they treated him horribly. They treated Maribel fucking Abuelita treated everybody horribly. she lost sight, and that's what we learned. That's what we learned in the movie. She lost sight of what she really should have been thinking about, and that was the family and the gifts, and not about keeping face, because that's what most of the time families do, is about keeping face. Don't fucking do this. We need to keep, and I'm sure many, even the white people, I know the white people do it too, where you have to be, this is the way you need to be, this is the way you need to act, this is the way you need to be when we're in public. But there's also a difference between being respectful and having manners than pretending to be not who you are. You know what I'm saying? So, Abuelita freaking was making it be like she was horrible. And it's understandable because she had the weight of the world on her. But it's not understandable because she needed to have more love. And if you notice, all of this happened when freaking Maribel didn't get her gift, and she became a biatch. Abuelita became a biatch. Let's be for real here. She was not cool after that. She was so sweet. She was so sweet to her granddaughter. And then she was just a biatch to her. She was fucking horrible to her own children as well. Like, the besides Bruno, Pepe, and, well, she didn't treat Julieta at all. But Pepe, she was not allowed to show her feelings. She was not allowed to fucking have any feelings. They're like rain clouds, and then she'd have to stop feeling those feelings, and she had to, not be able to break down. And if she did, it probably was not in front of them, because Abuelita and everybody was like, hey, you're rain clouds, it's storming. Fucking bullshit. And a lot of families are like that. And thankfully, my family, over the past 30 years, I would say, have gotten a lot better. And that's good. Like, my parents do not withhold us up to anything except for us to be happy. That's all that they want. They want us to be happy. And they're very loving. And I think that's in every single family. All of the immediate family and outside of the immediate family, like my uncles and aunts and all of them, my tios and tias, all of them, they all just want us to be happy and good people. And I think that all of us are. All of us are. There's not any one of us that are horrible ass human beings. We are all respectful towards each other. We all are great with each other. And that is a good thing. And let me tell you, when we watched, cried at Coco, cried at fucking Encanto, and it's just a lot, because yes, the oldest of the family does have a lot of on their hands and on their head and their shoulders. Because even my oldest sister, she was sitting next to me when we watched it. She was sniffling, and she even admitted that she cried. And when she was talking to somebody the other day, she said, "Yeah, I cried." Because my friend, that's what it was. My friend was like, "Hey, I watched Encanto. I don't see what everybody's talking about." And I was like, "It's just because you're white." Just kidding, but not kidding. But yeah, the way that Abuelita treated everybody, and the way that things were like unspoken, and all their pain pretty much sucks. And when Luisa says that she cries, that made me so sad for that freaking big old queer girl. And the girl that actually does her voice is such a tiny girl, and it's a tiny person, and it's so funny. I follow her on TikTok, and she's tiny, and she's like blown away about how the music is like up in like the top 10. Like Bruno, we don't talk about Bruno, was like almost number 1 the other day. So it makes me really happy that Hispanic culture is being thrown out in your faces, in America's face and the world's face, and how our families are, and the way that we learn and grow. Because in both of those films, there was people, it was abuelitas. If you notice, in both of those films, hello. Oh my God, I just realized that. The abuelitas are the ones that were in charge. They're the main ones there. And there's a lot of similarities there, thinking about it. But yeah. There's just so much also, like,